We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. Yes? Yes. Have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
I really didn't want to resort to this. The man is thinking.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Yes?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure? Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence. That they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this MC anyway. A cop with spinners. That would be outrageous.
He flashes a smile, barely visible in the dark. The spinners shine so bright they reflect on the lieutenant's glasses. He doesn't say anything either.
Yes, the bird's nest, Roy, near the canal. We've been there. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late. Alright, let's not take them now. Then, come back once we realize we have to. Have this conversation again, and then take them.
The cage at the back of the...
I confiscated this for a little while back.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop. Gone forever.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump-a-mesk banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time, perhaps.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great, perfect. I hope you enjoy your freezing cold room with the window you broke yourself. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Starting tomorrow, please pay for each night in advance. 20 real per night. If you don't have the money, it's over for you. Got it? You've got nowhere else to stay.
I'll take a room here too.
Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You're cold, detective. Again, I only have exactly one every night. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit below it all.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it. Our inspection could have been more thorough, as it always can, but we have some leads we can follow up on. Then you shot the body down, which was quite the shot. Just don't get carried away. At any rate, your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. Moreover, you found that the hanged man wasn't just hanged, he was also shot. That was some excellent detective work. And you managed to locate and pull out the bullet, so we can get ballistics, make off the gun. All this is invaluable. The rest is up to the boys in processing. Maybe they will surprise us by doing their job for once, but I wouldn't count on it. There's still work to be done at the crime scene, however. We mustn't forget that. Now for the interviews. Including Everard, a daunting adversary, if there ever was one. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however. We tried to interview the Wild Pines rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. Fine, so be it. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, to say the least. For a man your age, especially. Those are some stylish shoes too, by the way. Those loafers. Must be hard to run indoors like you do. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station cold slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. Yes, the international community's mission in Revachol, and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. It's probably more honest, yes. Either way, the Moralintern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The Moralintern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses, the red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on a string from east to west as Revachol commutes back to the suburbs. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Monday is over. The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me, he thinks. This little stick right here.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our 2 precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too, but I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't come. And then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. A bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Of your childhood. What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go, let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown? Who are you kidding? Help you? Why? I can't hear you. The rest is just a word dream. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin sleep-like state. More glass than velvet. Grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Yes, wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week? Let's be honest, 2 weeks, maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.
Morning. I've got some good news. I took care of the body. The thought of him decomposing in my MC wouldn't let me sleep. I'm just glad he's gone. We have other matters to attend to.
Oh well, we'll get the armored boots in another lifetime.
The Union muscle finally turned up, and they look rowdy. We need to talk to them. Everything points to the dockworkers' union. The belt used for hanging him, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong, but we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men here, men who drink beer for breakfast. There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms.
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
Just a moment.
She's agitated. judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent. A damp chill goes down your spine. When you look around, you're still in the whirling in rags.
But you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband. And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle. Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
one other thing. He'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Of course, dear.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza.
He nods and assumes a waiting posture. Cryptids, cryptids. Let's hear about all the interesting cryptids.
Yes, it's the kind green ape. Half war story, half undiscovered species in the genus Homo. Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva. Yes, it has amazing healing qualities. Some soldiers reported growing back limbs, regaining their sight. Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the cryptids. Same taxonomic family, different genus. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor, and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners.
I'm beginning to wonder if I should.
Please don't misunderstand me, either of you. I didn't mean to imply that Saelites are inferior to us. In many ways, you are superior. For example, your earwax doesn't have a foul odor like ours does.
A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. But perhaps we've had enough speculative biology for today?
Of course, dear.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man?
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage. Not in, not out. I'll never betray the purity of my tribe.
So you're telling us that you don't know anything about drug smuggling through Terminal B?
I don't know shit, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his luck and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to. It's a fucking travesty, is what it is. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Siileng, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. Of course he's a lorry driver. What? He tell you he's just some simple businessman or some shit? He's selling his employer stuff after he broke the seals on his Humanux lorry. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right. 100%.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Siileng himself has to say.
Guess so.
Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. I don't like drugs either. I only said I do because I didn't want to sound lame. Peer pressure.
Sir, it appears to be true. No drugs in sight. Not in the box of sunglasses or under the speakers.
That's even cooler. You investigating narcotics crimes like that? But I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that. Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. I'm...
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd. You know, the drug crowd.
No use. He's not telling us. He's too afraid. We need to take him to my station and ask him there. After we've called his boss.
Okay, look. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up. It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady. All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now? I really want us to be cool now.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
No need to dress this one up. Just tell him what you want.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? Ah, yes. Money is very important.
Are you trying to ask for a bribe? If so, you're not doing a very good job.
Sorry, detective.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you? Then I don't suppose you could tell me where we are, lawman? Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have the small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Guendero. Until you came along, that is. Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole.
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
Come on, he thinks. She's not the lady driver.
You hear that, lawman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best camioners around. I drive routes no one else will. Lomonosov's Land, Udashnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain.
A terrible cold comes over her, rattling her teeth as she stares inward.
The Transcatolia Magistral. You for 1A. Autostradas do Mirador. All the good ones. The deep trenches. Where the bluebirds fly. Irmao. I already am dust. Did you just call me a lady, Harife?
She clearly doesn't think she's a lady. Don't repeat it.
I'm not that either, Harife. I've gone too far from it all to remember what was between my legs. It doesn't work like that on the long haul. I'm only terrifying to small children and to those who used to know me. How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around when I have my movies to go to? Because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. The big ones, the trucks. There's no women and men there, it's all just. In the middle of this town, there's a ghostly motorway. It takes all the people where they want to stay.
You feel very cold suddenly, as if standing face to face with a terrifying adversary. Then the feeling dissipates, and all you see is an aging woman.
Oh, Sim. What do I need drugs for, lawman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, No drugs can compare. If you don't know, why would I want to do that? Loman, what in the name of God are you talking about? Maybe. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Garte on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Garte, Loman? No, Loman, diamonds. Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the futures of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no?
Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Messier.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. Thank God I don't know. People here call her the Lady Driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it. A friend? An acquaintance? I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Dyed. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person, I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her. Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. Now is not the time to focus on feelings. You need that info, son.
I thought you were a different kind of cop. Here.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
Her lorry's still here. Down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. No. I don't know. She left them to me. Because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise,
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
I bet you are.
Thank you for your cooperation, sir. I know it was hard, but you did the right thing.
You don't really think so.
I really do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be in the RCM. Take care, sir.
This green found, A to Z, contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our man pointed to.
You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just... The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the seat where the toolbox should be. Voila! A stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Bonne prise.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There, hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881. High above the mass of brown and red roofs, that is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield. To Couronne, through the middle-income neighborhoods there, by the river, and then to Stella Maris and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road. This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital, right adjacent to the 41st precinct. Wind rips through the empty hallways of the once great military hospital, now just a ruin under an overgrown park. Beneath the hospital, great sewer tunnels hum and vibrate with life of their own. The rattle of motor carriages and lorries driving through long-forgotten tunnels, lit by gaslights. The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of Motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. These service tunnels were probably used during the construction of the foundation beneath the motorway.
It means that the smugglers are secretly using the motorway to transport their goods and materials. They've infiltrated the East Motor Tract, most likely. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them. Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Messier behind it. The Messier is a Revacholian crime syndicate. They see themselves as the inheritors of the 14 Revacholian Indo-tribes, but really they're just violent gangs vying for control on the west side of Revachol. With cool names like La Puta Madre and Ahura Mazda, it's a dark parody. It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick this up later.
The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie stars look silently by, and the pull-out toolbox has a rubber handle, worn from years of use. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Paledriver from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Posters, a radio, dust on the windows. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade No. 5. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
It has to be an advanced model to fit so many frequencies next to each other without blending them together.
No, that's on 78.9. What? I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation. With quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least. Perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The ghostly actresses and the rusty toolbox under the driver's seat and the oddly bulging seat cover. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. But there's something strange about the passenger seat. The radio transmitter sits on the center console and the pull-out toolbox lies hidden under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found. so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net. I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. Oh, and the maps we found. They reveal the geographical extent of the operation. Looks like they've used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation, but somehow I doubt that Everard Clare would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road.
In short, this is a future angle. Possibly a good one.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, man, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank,
our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single, concrete suspect before they indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The Débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I would be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night. At the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lorry, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Garte, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Garte is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
That's all right, then. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own.
And that seems to corroborate the ethnicity we gave.
They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence. She wears fingerless gloves. Her fingernails are cut short and fractured, like those of a working woman.
It was taken with a trigger not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Port cities. On the oceans. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century. As early as 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semnes Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Inter-Islary Age.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade. Do what you have to do, Detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security, but if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, then.
Is there anything else I can help you with?